The challenge I faced personally was access to care. And I think the challenge for most of rural community when it comes to health care is access to care. You don't realize it's a problem until you hear people's stories. But when it comes to maternity care, that's about as universal an experience as it gets. And so the idea that you don't have that care for this fairly universal experience just seems unimaginable. The rural area that we live in had a labor and delivery department where I delivered all my other kids. They closed the labor and delivery department about 2 or 3 months before I was supposed to deliver. And so they walked us through, these are the plans, these are the steps that you're gonna take. But there was also that worry of what happens if things don't go well. They would probably had the ability to save my life, but there was no way to deliver a baby. There was no way to, take care of my baby. Half the counties in Missouri don't even have a birth center or an OB provider, meaning that pregnant women and their families have to drive longer distances to find health care. Having to drive so far, it limits what families can do. You're making decisions about what appointments you're going to keep and what appointments you're going to skip because of situations where you don't have transportation or you're having to take off work or you don't have childcare. It casts a shadow over what should just be a very joyous time in our life. You immediately have to start planning. You immediately have to come up with those things of what ifs and try to figure out what you're going to do. I wouldn't wish that on anyone. In our community, you talk about transportation. Families that have one car and, we talk about, have a bag packed, rush. But there's, they would get to the hospital with very little time here because their husband would be off in the field and, they're home with the kids. They can't just load up all the kids and drive in active labor to the hospital. So they're waiting for their husband to get out of the field, to get home. And so then even close here, it would be barely make it. And when you remove that and put that, an hour and a half away, it just seems impossible. Those simple barriers are expanded here because there is no bus, there is no Uber, there is no taxi, there is no any of that to get you where you need to go. Some resources that you would have in other places, it just isn't here. Time is the problem, so coming up with a plan is key, but sometimes your hands are tied by lack of resources. I think it's key to have providers in your area that understand the environment that you live and the risks and benefits of being where you are, that understand the limitations. We talk about having a rapport or relationship with your provider, driving 2 hours to see them. You're removing them from where you live, things that you deal with on a daily basis. And that's, I think in some ways, that's where you're seeing the disconnect with your provider because they don't understand the reality that you live in. Not that they can't have empathy and things like that, but the whole idea of your husband being in the field and you're waiting for him to come home before you can head out, I think that sounds very backwards to some people, but that's just still the reality for some people and communities. Our providers see the problem, but it's going to take us all working together to come up with a solution.